If somebody discloses that they've been abused or are being abused or have been taken advantage of, you must believe that individual.
You need to respect the other individual's right to say no.
Every person, regardless of age, has the right to decide what happens to his or her body.
You have the right to feel safe and to feel happy.
Hi, I'm Lauren Book, and welcome to Safer, Smarter Teens. High school can be a great time in our lives, a time when we form lifelong friendships, figure out who we are and what we stand for, experience new freedoms, and gain new rights, like driving and voting. But high school is also a time when you may face greater risks to your personal safety. Over the next 5 lessons, we're going to cover important topics that relate to your personal safety and relationships, and we'll tackle some tough topics like sexual abuse, dating violence, and sexual harassment. These issues can be difficult to talk about and can make people feel uncomfortable, but not talking about them doesn't make them go away. As teenagers, you may be at the greatest risk of any time in your life. We want you to know what to do, where to turn to for help, and how to help a friend who may need it. Throughout the next 5 lessons, we will hear from real people who've dealt with these issues in their lives. One of those people is me. I want to share my personal story because I think that you can draw some valuable lessons from what happened to me. When I was in middle school and high school, from age 11 to 17, I was physically, sexually, and emotionally abused by my family's live-in babysitter. This abuse happened every day, before school and after school. My abuser lived in my home and was like a family member to me. My parents trusted her, and so did I. Instead of blaming her for her actions, I blamed myself and kept my abuse secret for a very long time. I was ashamed and embarrassed. I told myself no one would believe me, and I was afraid that I would get sent away. A lot of victims feel that way. Fortunately for me, when I finally did tell what was happening to me, I was believed and validated, and most importantly, protected. I got help. I got stronger. I found my voice. Over time, I began to heal, and I learned how to advocate for myself and others. By the end of this course, you'll know how to recognize relationships that are healthy versus ones that are unhealthy. You will understand your rights as a citizen of this country and as a human being, and you will learn how to stand up for them. You'll get insight into how abusers target victims, and you'll have a chance to create a personal safety plan that anticipates risks and has strategies ready to encounter them. You will learn how to use your personal power to be the change in your relationships, in your community, and in the world. As you've learned through your years in school, one of the most important tools we have as Americans to protect our freedoms is the Bill of Rights, which is a formal statement of the fundamental rights of people of the United States. America's Constitution and Bill of Rights serve as a check of our laws to make sure that they don't cross a line and violate basic rights guaranteed to all Americans.
I think having a personal Bill of Rights would be how you expect and require to be treated as a human. Regardless of your age, all people have rights and all kids have rights. You have the rights to what happened to your body, the right to your feelings, and the right to expect other people to treat you with respect. Having personal space is a very important body boundary. Knowing that your body is your own and that if you don't want to be touched in any way, even if it's a hug from a family member, that's okay.
There's a lot of pressure among young men to engage in sexual activity as fast as possible with as many people as possible. And of course, young men are gonna wanna explore and have those desires. However, it's very important that they maintain personal boundaries, that they think about and set personal boundaries, not based upon what everybody else is doing and what they think other people are doing.
Let's say you have an uncle who rubs your shoulders while you're watching TV, or a teacher who likes to hug you. There's nothing wrong with either of those things, but if they make you uncomfortable at all, you have a right to say so. You set the boundaries for your body, and other people get to do the same with their bodies.
Respect would be not going through somebody's phone without asking, not requiring somebody to do something they don't feel comfortable with, having your own privacy, not barging into somebody's room without asking.
My definition of respect is, again, an appreciation of differences, an appreciation of train of thoughts and opinions. We can mutually agree to disagree without being upset or offended with another person.
You can set any boundary you want with your body, in any part of your body. You have that right, and I implore you and tell you to use that right. You're completely correct. When you say no, say it strong. Practice it in the mirror. I was a college athlete, and I would envision scoring that touchdown or throwing that pass. See it happen and practice it. So when it does happen, or God forbid, it does happen in a place, you're prepared for that. You know how you're going to say. You've rehearsed that. You've rehearsed it in your mind. How are you going to say no? Say it emphatically. Say it with intestinal fortitude, and let them know what you mean.
So in order to have a healthy relationship that's a relationship between equals, both partners need to be open and honest about what's a boundary, what kinds of touch are okay, when it's okay to be touched, and where.
Articulating a personal bill of rights for ourselves is important because it helps keep us clear about how we expect to be treated and makes it easier for us to draw a line when others don't treat us this way.
So kind of to define consent in terms that everyone would know, consent is freely, knowingly, and voluntarily agreeing to, in this context, participate in whatever the activity is going to be. I think that there's a lot of people have certainly heard no means no. When it comes to consent, I think the better way to look at it is yes means yes, meaning you're not going until someone tells you to stop. You are affirmatively agreeing with your partner, whoever that is at that time, to move forward. And so consent should be free from fear or intimidation, hopefully in a safe environment. Legally speaking, there are some aspects of consent. For example, in the state of Florida, a child 15 or under can never give legal consent to sexual activity, regardless of the age of their partner. It's a very slippery slope towards when is someone not freely, knowingly, most importantly with alcohol or drugs, giving consent.
Young people need to know that if they have a potential partner and that partner is under the influence of alcohol or drugs, they can't give consent. They don't have the right to say yes. They can't, that you cannot go further in a sexual relationship if that person is under the influence. So you need to refrain from that at all costs, or you can find yourself in criminal trouble.
Understanding what lines we will not allow others to cross also sensitizes us to other people's lines that we must respect. In our next lesson, we will explore the characteristics of healthy versus unhealthy relationships.